Hey everybody, and welcome to another Joker's Wild Side. I am Lobo,
I'm Jax.
and this is going to be our review of the final episode of Secret Invasions, Marvel Secret Invasions, episode 6, titled Home. We're going to go into a little bit of it. We just finished watching it. I don't know if you want to start off, because my opinion is not high on this, man.
First, we'll start off with how we felt about the episode.
Yeah.
And as a little disclaimer, Lobo will explain how our review system works real quick, just so you have an understanding.
So, at the end of it, we'll tell you how we feel about every episode or every show as we do reviews. 2 thumbs down is we did not enjoy it. We will not watch it again, and we will not recommend. 1 thumbs down. It had its moments. It's still not a good show, and we probably won't recommend it. Mid, just whatever. 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs ups is depending on the level that we like it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
So, just real quick,
Mhm.
this episode alone, what's your rating here?
On just the episode alone, without no context, without anything, the fight scene that happened was to 1 thumbs up, somewhere there.
Okay.
The rest of the episode was mid.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. How about you? What do you think about it?
You convinced me. I originally was 1 thumbs down. Now I'm at.
Yeah.
Entire episode was just wasn't bad, wasn't good.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we're talking overall with the show, we will say later.
Yep, you can catch that in our entire show overview.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just seems I was expecting more out of the show, this episode specifically, and the show actually. But this episode, I was expecting a big fight, big old disaster everywhere. But I was wrong, and like you said last time, you predicted this would be a small fight.
I called everything that happened in the episode, essentially.
Yeah.
I was ballpark determining everything. But everything that I predicted, how it was going to go, went that way. But getting into the episode,
Go for it.
Priscilla ends up going back home, and Fury calls her. They have a chit-chat about whatever they do. And they finish with the conversation, and it snaps to Fury arriving at New Skrullos.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed how he rolled up on the camp.
I do too, shooting it up.
Yeah, so, car came in. Yeah. It was just coasting. Guard.
No one was there.
No one was there. Fury, bam, bam, right off the side of the road. You never expect that.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard.
Definitely. After they shot it a few times, I'm like, oh, he's not in the car. And he came. I was more surprised that he showed up to the compound, being that he is human, and he even showed he was taking medicine to try to fight the radiation. So that paid his effect down the episode. But I don't know if I would have done that. But this was the way he took it.
And then intro rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Intro ends. We snap to the president in the hospital. And they're still on the rant about let's nuke the Russians. And the Skrulls were involved. And we got to get on this so we don't get behind this. And Rhodey's pressuring hard, insulting people, trying to get the way across, trying to make a sense of urgency here. And then
it just doesn't seem like Rhodey. Like, we already knew it in a few episodes, but now he's definitely pushing too hard and saying and acting ways that Rhodey does not act. So I think the president also got a little like
something's not right here. Like, you're pressing us way too hard, buddy.
Yeah.
And one thing that they also did is substantiate evidence about Russians invading the borders of Finland and Ukraine, lining up.
Kind of like real
life,
right?
Yikes.
A little too close to the vest.
Very on the nose, Marvel.
But regardless, they go after this. Brody is arguing with it looks like the Secretary of Defense or something. Or the military
she was an admiral.
Admiral, okay. The admiral, and she's like, you shut up, you do what you came here to nuke the hell out of the Russians. And then as it shoots back to as Nick is walking through the compound, a crap load of dead scrolls everywhere.
Yep.
Seemed like they didn't care. They didn't even clean up after the dead bodies of their people.
Yep. You can tell they just left the bodies there. What have you? Fury's coughing around,
Mhm.
trying to give the sense of urgency that it is still irradiated. Pulls out a Geiger counter.
Mhm.
Geiger counter still beeping.
Yeah, so he walks a different way. But yeah, it just looks like he's taking medicine all through the shots, but it seems like it's not really doing much. As the more he walks, stays in there, the more he's straggling, the more he's bouncing around and coughing more.
Then they get to the control room where there's the transformation chamber. Gravik's sitting in there. I'm a badass.
Yeah. So in this place, they went into a bit of a monologue between both of them, or a conversation with them.
Yeah, it was just one person monologue for 3 minutes, the other person monologue for 3 minutes.
And really, it just goes into the reason why Gravitz did what he did, which is that Fury did not keep his word about getting the Skrulls a new planet. And then I don't know if we're at the part, but he said this one line that really got me.
No, not
yet?
quite there
Okay.
yet. Another thing that was happening was that SIS lady Sonya was sitting there playing around with Rhodey as they were trying to move the president to a more secure perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was her playing. It was a neat little scene, going through the hospital, shooting everybody casually. But I don't think anybody was actually dying. It seemed like a dart gun.
Yeah, later on in the show, as he's walking through the president, you see it's.
Oh yeah, because it was Fury and Sonya.
Yes.
And
kind of.
yeah.
Anyway, but as they keep going, you see a lot of the Secret Service guys dropping. So that was funny. I'm like, I thought the same thing. Oh, he's killing them. Doesn't sound like a full gunshot though.
Yeah. Gravik basically projects onto Fury in the new Skrullos, and he's like, every single thing that's happened to the humans this past 12 years is your fault.
Yeah.
You're the reason that everybody is in this predicament right now.
Yeah, and then Fury comes out with the line that I love. He says that, well, Gravix tells him that he lost faith in Fury when he found out that he was not going to keep his word. And Fury agreed to a point. He's like, I gave up on that because he said it's easier to save the lives of 8 billion people than to change their hearts and minds, which we've seen this throughout history, which I agree with 100%.
And the part that got me is Gravik says, even for Nick Fury, and Nick looks up and says, even for Nick Fury.
Yeah. He's not an all-powerful dude, man. But yeah, that line really got to me. We had to rewatch it a few times because I couldn't hear it. But I agree with it. It's just a lot of people aren't set in their ways, and that's how they're going to. But
and then it goes back to more monologuing. It talks about how Fury was happy to be blipped, so he didn't have to worry about nothing.
And about fighting anymore.
Monologues, why he came back to Earth, and why he needs to stop Gravik because he feels responsible, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then Fury tries to cut a deal with Gravik. Here is the harvest. Take it and go to a new planet and save your people.
Just stay the hell out of the Earth way, pretty much is what he said. To leave the Earth alone, move on, do what you want over there. And then Gravitz puts into the machine. Oh, at this point, Fury had already dropped his pills.
Yes.
Remember that he
Fury, as he gets into the control room, he dropped his pills, and Gravik gave him something to drink to either help him or we don't know what was in the flask. And traditionally, in a flask there's alcohol, but
who knows, right?
Exactly.
So then, Gravitz and Fury are in this machine as he puts the new DNA for the harvest. Into it.
Notices that it's pure.
Jumps in there, turns it on, and then as it stops, Gravitz goes to punch Fury with that. It looks like a Hulk can, or at least Hulk.
Oh no, he was just
regular?
buffed out regular because he just had so much power.
Steroid out Gravitz.
Hell yeah, man! Shout out. His ass was probably sore.
Yeah, but regardless, he goes to punch Fury, and Fury one hand stops him, and then turns into the Hulk and punches, or his arm turns into the Hulk and punches the hell out of Gravitz, and then that's when the big reveal happens. It was never Fury.
Never freaking Fury.
It was Gaia and as Fury. So that was a good twist. You also called that to, I think, last episode.
Yes, the biggest thing that I called was, okay, Gaia is going to get into the transformation chamber somehow with Gravik, or she's going to get in at another point in time and get powers injected to her, and Gravik and Gaia are going to fight.
Yeah, you called it for sure.
And lo and behold, I mean, if you were to give powers to one side and not the other, then they're going to have some stupid superhero BS delineation like, oh, he stubbed his toe on a rock and that's how we were able to cut off his head.
I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, at this point, I had already given up on the episode kind of. Once I saw that I was hoping for a bigger payoff in the fight. But then again, it is called Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely kept the mysticism there.
Yeah.
So as Gaia's fighting, we also have a co-op where Fury is now, the actual Fury is in the hospital talking with the president, being like, hey, this doesn't need to happen. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the world right now, and we don't know about it because it's been happening. And basically covers everything that there is of how the Skrulls are operating, and tries to push to the president that Rhodey is a Skrull.
Yeah.
And the president's too blind to see it. And the president's blown away.
Yeah, he was not expecting none of this news. They go back and forth between Rhodey, the Russian lady, what's her name?
Sonya, the SIS lady.
Sorry. Yeah.
But before any of that happens, we snap back to Gaia.
Yeah. The fight was okay, too short, but it seems as the fight goes on, they go on to power to power to power. You see a little bit of Drax on there. You see Miss Marvel. You see Mr. It's not Mr. Freeze. Iceman. Some ice powers.
Yeah, it looks like the Thing was on there, so
yes.
Definitely trying to push the Fantastic Four universe, I think.
Bit. Yeah, and then there was also Quicksilver on there when Gaia was running real fast around there. And then as they're falling, as they're falling when she goes? No.
Yeah, so they get launched up into the air, and now they're using Wonder Woman, Miss Marvel's powers, shooting down towards the Earth.
Yeah. And then at the end of it, Gaia kills Gravitz with this is the second hole she puts through his chest. So this one puts him out for the count.
Yep, she shoots a laser beam through his chest. He falls over dead. Doesn't look like any regeneration's happening.
Yeah.
Is he actually dead? I don't particularly think so. I'm of the firm belief unless you see somebody absolutely obliterated and turned into 1,000 pieces, they're not dead.
Agreed. But yeah, and then it goes on into Gaia releasing all the bodies from the actual people that the Skrulls took over. And
then it snaps to stuff going down with the president, with Fury, with Rhodey, with Sonya. And I was writing down notes at this time, so I didn't quite catch how it all flipped.
So Brody grabs the gun of the SIS agent, or what's her name? Sonya. And then tries to shoot Fury, I think. But Fury beats him to the punch, a headshot. And then purple, greenish blood also splurts, and that's how the president realized, oh.
You were right.
You were right. And then he asked for a phone, and I think he calls off the nukes. with that, and then after that it goes back into Gaia releasing everybody.
Yeah, it's cross between that. We see where the actual Rhodey is. We see Martin Freeman's character. I can't think of his name. And a few of the other people that we met along the way, like the Russian scientist that was able to do something with the dirty bombs.
Yeah.
Kind of being like, you see, this is where we've had everybody the entire time. I was happy to see Rhodey wasn't actually a Skrull the entire damn time and being just sleeper age.
Yeah, true. But it seemed like they had him for a long time. That he tried to walk, and I don't think he had the strength in his legs to walk. And then from here, it goes to the president making a statement to the world, pretty much.
Yeah, that any entity from outer space that comes from outer space is basically a foreign enemy of the state/world.
Yeah. I think that was a bad way to go about it, but whatever.
The thing
I think it's setting up a little bit for another season.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, the next scene just solidifies it. Gaia's walking through a freaking alleyway. Sonya comes out of a corner, the car stops so she can't run away. And she's going on this big monologue of, okay, we're going to start building up now, and there's something big coming, and you're going to be our superpower.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that, and then the ending. The ending of the episode also when Nick says goodbye to his wife, and then his wife follows him to the pickup point where he's going to space. It pretty much looks like they're setting up for season 2.
Yeah, and also for other potentials. It will definitely help nail down a timeline. As we saw, there was a Miss Marvel trailer movie coming out. If we see Gaia in the space station, in the Saber space station, I think it's Saber space station. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
And we see Vara in there. She specifies that she wants to be called Vara, her birth name. And it will definitely solidify the timeline, showing that it's Secret Invasions is happening while there's something else happening, which will also show us what Fury's clearance powers are and how much of a relationship he has with the president.
I agree. I don't know. But, like, we'll give you our opinion on the whole show. I don't know if you got any other stuff you want to add to it. But
one thing that really pissed me off right before Vara meets up with Nick is Nick is talking to the president and being like, you didn't have to come out to the world and say all this stuff. And it goes back to one of the first things that irritated me in the episode with Gravik saying that he wanted to sit down, or Talos. Talos wanted to sit down with the president and talk about trying to be a part of the new world together.
Oh, you're talking about like episode 2 or 3?
Yeah, where he's trying to be like, sit down with the president. Let's have a good conversation with the president. And I was just like, they think that the president owns the world. And then the U.S. president says, my world, my this, my that. I'm going to sit down with the council. I'm going to do this. And it's like, does the U.S. president have control over the entire world? Why does he have so much sway? Is it because the Avengers are here? Is it because...
I think
what is the reason?
So I think it's from years past, from reality and also comics, that the president will start to have all this power. And I think they've kept that in comics, when in reality, we won't get into that. At least I won't.
Oh, and then another small little tidbit that was very hard to catch because it was only a half second of dialogue. Fury talked to the Kree. The Kree are a race of alien species. Yes. The Kree may be giving the Skrulls a new home. So the Skrulls might have a new home.
Yep. So that looks like that's going to carry into season 2 if there is a season 2. In my opinion, there shouldn't be.
I hope that the show flops hard enough that we don't even see a season 2 because
Agreed.
it's just not. It's not there. Show's not there.
Agreed.
But we'll go deeper into that on our other episode of the overview of Secret Invasions. Yeah. So if you want to catch that, that's all we have for this episode specifically.
Yeah. That's it for me. This was Joker's Wild Side on a review of episode 6, the last one, Home from Secret Invasions. We'll see you on the next episode.
We've been Joker's Wild Side.